So for me, what I'm gonna basically share for is more a general idea on the second year quarterbacks in the NFL this year. Specifically, three I'm gonna give because I think they're at three different kind of levels: Bryce Young, Anthony Richard, and CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud, I don't necessarily think we need to go over that much, given he's at an elite level, but I do want to set kind of the blueprint of what Akilesh and I kind of are looking for when we see a second year quarterback, kind of what, makes a quarterback who's kind of emerging into that elite form. And CJ Stroud is miles ahead of everyone in this case. Jaden Daniels is a rookie, so we'll see if he continues to do this next year. But CJ Stroud, he has shown a lot of places that he's, that kind of set the standard on what the second year quarterback is. And mind you, that's not even without his struggles. He struggled a lot more this year than he did last year. And we'll get to that in a sec. But there are a lot better things and a lot more coachable errors here that, can get improved over time than what I see with Bryce, with Bryce Young and Anthony Richards. So as I share my screen, here we go. There we go. All right. So we're going to start off. Let's just start off with let's just start off with one of my favorite plays of the NFL this entire year, being more than just kind of the technicalities of football. I love this entire play because it's extremely cold, as the kids would call it. I feel old saying as the kids would say, but basically, let's look at this deep ball. All right. Well, first off, we can start off with this play. So on the 3rd and 5, CJ Stroud sees the blitz coming from the left side, right? This is what I like about the Texans in general, right? Bobby Slowick and D'Amico Ryans, they're very good at coaching offensive line schemes. So even though the Texans have not necessarily had a very good offensive line this year, you know where the blitz is going to come. For CJ Stroud, it's very easy from the blind side. He has a read that's already looking. You got your two receivers cleared, so that gives enough space for the running back. I'm not sure who that is. I think that might be Joe Mixon. I might be wrong. But to basically get the ball, and he has enough space to basically make room for a pass. But this is really the play that kind of stands out as far as being able to talk about CJ Stroud. CJ Stroud is a quarterback who's not necessarily the most mobile. He's more of a pocket-oriented quarterback, but he's mobile enough, right? The big thing about CJ Stroud, however, is his ability to quickly read the field after, especially through play action, movement, and whatnot, and be able to, in spite of maybe sometimes sloppy footwork, find the read quickly and deliver. So on this play, you got basically a fake pitch. CJ Stroud backs up. He's not even looking for a sec. He's already read. And this is also, again, what I like about the Texans offense with Bobby Slowick. You got a bunch formation, right? You got the receivers basically kind of already telling their hand very simply with kind of where they're going to go. So the linebackers cover well. When it comes to a quarterback and what they want to see at the line of scrimmage, one of the big things that they want to see is where the linebackers shade before and after the snap. As you can see in this play, Dorian Williams and I think that's Terrell Bernard, both the linebackers of the Buffalo Bills, move right. That gives CJ Stroud, knowing that Nico Collins is running on a deep route, enough time to basically step back, wait in the pocket. Hopefully Nico Collins gets down the field in time, which he does, and then just launch it deep. And Nico Collins, being Nico Collins, takes that to the house, which that's exactly what you want to see from a second quarterback. You want to see patience, being able to quickly read. Now, granted, in more advanced situations, you're not always going to get that. Compare CJ Stroud to a Lamar Jackson, Patrick Mahomes, you're not going to get the same ideas. Mahomes, against a very, very advanced Patriots defensive scheme, struggled. But at the same time, you still saw him making these extended plays over and over and over and over again. CJ Stroud can do that, but not to the same extent, right? And you see these with struggles that you see in the Minnesota Vikings game, as I realize my audio's on. And by the way, before I go any further, I would like to give credit to the videos that I'm using film for to content creator Jackson Kruger Sports. If you see this video, please don't copyright claim us. We're just using this for entertainment purposes. I don't want to get copyright claim, please. We're just, two young content creators who
Yeah.
are very poor. So please have mercy on us. But let's start off with this. All right. So when it comes, hold on. Let's see if I can get this as it's buffering and I have to reload. Great. Brilliant. Don't you just love technology every now and then? You know what I mean?
Yeah. 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 I can tell you I hate it too. But
Yeah. All right. Let's let's see if this is the play.
by the way, for anybody who wants to know about more film study, Jackson Kruger does it better than a lot of the guys. He does it every game, every week, and he does it really well in a very concise manner too. So he's just amazing when it comes to what he
Yeah,
does.
Kruger, I would say is probably one of my favorite to watch. Kruger, Brett Coleman. If you guys want to look at film study, these guys are the blueprint for it.
Oh,
All right, so
just
this
want to
is the
mention
best
real
play I
quick.
think about.
Just want to mention real quick. Brett Coleman does work for the Chargers. Just want to put it out there. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, okay, let's start off with this play. So let's start off with the team the Texans are playing. Like obviously they're playing the Minnesota Vikings. Brian Flores comes from that Patriots scheme, and he runs a lot of multiple sets in a very similar way to Bill Belichick. One of the things that makes the Vikings very unique is that they have some of the most versatile players in the league, specifically someone like Josh Metellus, Ivan Pace Jr., Patrick Jones. These are guys, Josh Metellus can pretty much play all 11 positions on the field, and that's very rare for a strong safety. But as we can see here, he's very much, you got a safety basically kind of dropping deep zone coverage, and this is almost, in a sense, a shaded linebacker. What makes this kind of hard for a quarterback, if you're looking at this, is very much this could end up being a nickel back or a corner blitz, excuse me.
Mm,
Right? You see on this side, the Texans have a bunch formation, or trips left formation, excuse me, right? But you only got two cornerbacks. One is basically dropping back in zone coverage, right? What this tells me, if I'm a quarterback, is number one, this is your primary route, as you can see by the yellow line, right?
mm,
Depending on what I think this is Metellus, I might be wrong, or whoever the defensive back is, this is your first read. If that doesn't come quickly, you got to wait for a sec. Most
yeah.
likely, you're throwing the ball to this is Stephon Diggs. You're throwing the ball to Stephon Diggs, who, as we're going to see on this play, ends up running a slant route. So he's going to be especially open. But you need that play to take its bit of time. Now, the problem with this play, especially, and this is going to be a struggle for any young quarterback, you got one cornerback shaded here, right? The other the linebacker, excuse me. You got another linebacker, and I'm pretty sure, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, they are playing cover for. Hold
They're
up,
playing cover two. They're playing
I
cover
think they're
two with the
playing cover
inside
two.
rock.
Give me one
They're
sec.
playing cover two, yeah. The thing with
Um,
Flores and Bill Belichick is when they play cover two,
yes,
most of the time it'll come with an extended blitz. So
exactly. So this is the other problem. So okay, yeah, so they're playing cover two. So in this case, what you're trying to figure out here is number one, again, how much time can you figure with the blitz? Again, Brian Flores is the master of blitz when it comes to this. You got a linebacker here who may or may not drop back, and that's always a problem with the blitz when it comes to young quarterbacks trying to figure out, can they read that. Now, CJ Stroud has been very good at being able to read the blitz, but the problem is, as you can see, the Vikings basically put four pass rushers on
pressure.
the left side, basically load the front. And Patrick Jones, who's a little further out, basically has the ability to, if the Texans, which is most likely a zoom, basically shift their entire offensive line left, he can pretty much penetrate through the A gap, the gap between the center and the guard, and basically get to the quarterback very quickly at that, because Patrick Jones is extremely athletic. And you basically got, now, I think this is Titus Howard. Again, I'm not keeping update with the injury report for the Texans, but the right tackle of the Texans is basically on an island with the Vikings defensive edge. That means CJ Stroud is very likely probably only going to get 2 seconds, right? Now, again, with a quarterback like Stroud, unless you're Kirk Cousins, Jared Goff, or a quarterback who just cannot move in the pocket, what
Hmm.
you want to do on this play is be able to back up just a little bit. As you can see, Patrick Jones is right here. The problem
Mhm.
is CJ Stroud gets a little bit stuck on his read. Now, at this point, right here, right here, over here, he should know that he's not going to be able to get the ball to Dalton Schultz. Before the line starts, right at the snap, you can see the defensive back, which I think again is Josh Metellus, drop back in coverage. So you know that
He knows the play exactly.
exactly. So you know that that's going to be, you know, a coverage snap for the defensive back. At that point, CJ Stroud's got to look the other way. Right here, I think that's Tank Dell. I might be wrong. That might be Stephon Diggs. I'm not 100% sure. Yeah, that's Stephon Diggs. So at that point, you got to be looking the other way right away, right?
No,
You
Yash,
got to
I will say one thing though. See, from that standpoint, you have I think a seven-man pressure at that point. I think if you also go full screen, you'll see that if I can edit it here, you'll see that you see that white circle that I'm drawing.
which one? Yeah,
You see, he's wide open. No one's there to guard him. So if
100%.
CJ Stroud actually took that time to turn around and then throw it to this side,
Well,
he's
that's what I'll
done
add,
for.
actually. That's the thing that would separate a guy like Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in those specific instances. What they do under the circumstance where they have to look back, at that point, you're just backing up. You're just backing up. When the pressure basically condenses on you one way or another, whether it stacks on the left side or the right side, right? You got to be able, as a quarterback, to be able to just back up a little. You know what I mean? Back up. I had to pull the demonstration with my chair and just take that extra time. Take the hit, be able to get that play to Stephon, to your receiver who's running the slant. You know, for a younger quarterback, it might be a little bit of a shell shock or whatnot. But CJ Stroud has taken those hits before. He's done that before. It's just being able to do that on a consistent level. And as we're seeing, he's struggling a little bit more in his sophomore year as other teams throw similar concepts to him, right?
Yeah.
So from that standpoint, I like what I see from CJ Stroud, but what I would say is these more advanced concepts, they're going to come to him eventually, right?
Yeah.
They're not there yet, but you know, he's very good for a young quarterback. This is a similar thing that Mahomes, Lamar went through. A guy I'd actually compare him better to is a guy like Joe Burrow. You saw a guy like Joe
Mm.
Burrow who, in those specific instances where he just couldn't get the ball that quick out, he would extend the play. I think CJ Stroud needs to take a page out of Joe Burrow's playbook to be able to, you know, be able to overcome these new blitz schemes that he's going to be able to see as the year gets longer.
I think
Now,
pressure period. I think pressure period. Anybody
100%.
should take out of Joe Burrow's play.
100%.